So our next speaker is Leigh Tillman, who likes to make tea, surf, and grow garlic. 2 out of 3 for me. And after Leigh, Lizetta, you're going to be up. Oh, Mike, you were supposed to shout Mike.
I thought they were saying my name.
Hi. Can you hear me? Okay. So, in my early 20s, I found a lot of solace in the shoulder of the road. It was like all of life's metaphors were right there. It could all be different. Hitchhiking. And I used to love when I would leave my parents' house hitchhiking and end up at my granny's house. Worlds that I knew, and then this in-between of unknown. And sometimes after getting out of the car, I would sit and write in my journal roadside, because that was my time, that was my space before encountering the unknown again. And there was one night where I was trying to remember the details and telling a friend this story a couple minutes ago, where I was 10 miles east of Arizona, because I knew my ending point. So I'm remembering the story for you now. I knew where I was ending up, at my mom's best friend's house in Arizona. And I knew I was in the truck for 10 hours. And it's funny, I remember the first trucker I ever drove with, Brad, the cab of his truck was purple, and what we talked about. There was like a person there. And this story, I don't remember the guy that well, but I remember getting in the truck, and I remember him telling me trucker lingo. So he turned the CB radio on, and he would say, "Oh, bear is a cop up ahead." Or someone would say, "Nice seat covers on that car, the little Honda," and he'd be like, "That's the legs of the person sitting on the seat cover." So I was learning, and this is what I was really into at that time. And then I remember it getting darker, and him propositioning me sexually. And there was fear, and there was space. We had 10 hours, Arizona desert. I don't know if there's 10 hours of Arizona, 10 hours east of Arizona desert. Really long cab, and this question sitting there. One of my favorite things about hitchhiking was talking with people. You had a certain amount of time with someone you didn't know, and you didn't know what you were going to talk about. And I remember talking with somebody about them being retired and having 5 toilets and having to clean all the toilets because all their kids were gone, and that was their life right now. And then all of a sudden they started talking about NASCAR, and we were off, and they were passionate, and they were excited. And following people's passion, finding the humanness and the connection. And I'm sitting here in this truck in the dark with this guy with this question. And so I asked him what made him think it was okay to ask me that question. And we started talking about sex and men, him as a man and me as a woman, and why that scared me and what that felt like. Suddenly we were like in group therapy together, just the 2 of us, for 10 hours. And then I got out of the truck, shook his hand, and I got out of the truck in the middle of BLM land, and leaned against the guardrail. And I remember pulling out my harmonica and playing it, and it was dark, and I was waiting for my mom's friend. And she pulled up, and she said, "Leigh, you're out here in the middle of nowhere. Aren't you afraid?" And I remember being like, pausing and realizing I was just in the situation that I'm most afraid of. And in that situation, in that fear, what I found was another human. Thank you.